Hey, what's going on, my friends? Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Victor, and I help people navigate through their spiritual awakening or their ascension process. And today I'm going to share with you 6 signs that you should stop, rest, and reflect. I feel that way today. That's why I'm making this video. It's a little bit of a change of plans from what I had initially intended. I came out to this beautiful Mission Gorge, which you're only kind of seeing a glimpse of it here in San Diego, and I wanted to shoot an August energy update because I'm just so pumped and feel so strongly about this month being a very pivotal, impactful, noticeable month that actually does stand out among the others. But I'm experiencing these 6 signs, and I know they're saying, Vic, stop, chill. You can do the report tomorrow. You need to rest. You're not keeping up with the pace of your life and your awakening. So anyways, being that I'm going to do that today, I figured I would share these 6 signs with you in case any of you guys are going through them. Then you can maybe heed the advice of the signs you're giving yourself. And the nice thing about that is when you do that, you can recuperate very, very quickly if you catch it and listen early. Sign number 1 is you might find yourself wanting to sleep forever. A lot of people become insomniacs, but there are times, even intermixed with periods of insomnia, there's the opposite, where you feel like you just can't sleep long enough. Like you're finding it harder and harder and harder to not hit that snooze button, and you just feel like, yeah, I was sound asleep like a rock for like 8-9 hours, and yet I feel like I could easily go another 8 hours and even be suspicious of that being enough. I feel that drained. It might not even be anything real physically demanding going on in your life. It's just the processing of these intense emotions, these big inner shifts. They're just so taxing on not only just our body, but just our brain. Our ego it struggles to process everything. When we start changing in such a fundamental deep way, it has a ripple effect into all areas of our being and of our life, of our experience. And when it just keeps happening and happening and happening, it's like you get to a point where it's time to chill. It's time to process. It's time to reflect, because you're going forward, you're getting up and you're doing, but you're not really doing anything because, again, it's not sticking. This is what happened to me just this morning. These past few days, I've been finding it more challenging to wake up, whereas the week before, I was getting up real early and just feeling excited to be alive and to start the day, just full of creative energy and enthusiasm. And then lately, the last few days, it's been harder and harder and harder to wake up. And then this morning, today, I don't know, my wife must have hit the snooze button, and we slept in like an hour, almost 2 hours later, and I still feel like I would have preferred to rest longer. So that's just one of the signs I get anyways. Number 2, you might find yourself munchy. This happens a lot where you just, for me, I notice it's like almost like a scientific approach, because I track my calories. I know the effect that X amount of calories has on my energy and my body and my weight and everything. And the last couple of days, I've eaten like a maintenance level of calories where it's the perfect amount to sustain my body weight, which means it's a perfect amount of energy to do my thing. And yet I've been finding myself really like munchy, like I just wanted to kind of keep eating. So that could be a sign as well. Number 3 is you feel sort of cut off. You don't feel the creative juices flowing. You don't feel that intense connection. And that's not to be confused with me saying that you feel necessarily really horrible or miserable or disconnected. It's more just like you just don't, you could just feel that you're kind of burnt out. You're kind of taxed, and the downloads, the tapping into your higher self and your higher consciousness and bringing forth all of that you energy, that spirit, soul, essence, it is taxing on our physical body quite a bit. And if our body is already so tired and already not keeping up the pace, you'll just find that flow just doesn't come. But it's for our own good, because it would be kind of do more harm than good anyways. The way I experience this in a maybe a better way to explain it would be like, I go to the gym and I like to strength train and lift really heavy weights, and that's in a sense very taxing, obviously, and yet I feel more tired from shooting a video or writing a blog post or working with my clients, because that tapping in is what I do for those things, and that is more demanding on my physical body than even intense exercise. This next one, you might just feel confused and overwhelmed. Like there's been so much happening mentally, emotionally, in your life, physically. A lot of movement, a lot of new insights, new perspectives on big areas of your life. And out of that stems all these different ideas and things you now want to do or stop doing. And they can all seem like of equal importance. And it's like paralysis by analysis. It's like nothing is getting done though. It's just overwhelming. It's just too much. And that's okay. The awakening kind of has a pace and a mind of its own, and it's up to us to adjust ourselves around it if we don't want to tumble in the waves. So if you find that you're feeling just overwhelmed, mentally taxed, scattered, again, plenty of things you intend to do that you know will be helpful. You might have gotten these ideas from downloads, but yet day after day is going by and you're just not really, you're not putting in any energy into them because you just don't know where to start. That's okay, it's very common, but again, it's just saying chill. It's not that there's too much on your plate, it's just you're not giving yourself time to really assimilate and digest them properly to where that first step can become more obvious and apparent. Number 5 is you might feel just blah, melancholy, not horribly like you're processing really intense emotions, though many of you may very well may be, but the state I'm speaking of is more just limbo, void, not really high or low, blah, melancholy, etc. That's part of it, just that, again, we're not tapping in. We don't really have the energy for a lot of processing or a lot of like new events to spill into our life to catalyze more growth, where we kind of, but in forcing ourselves forward, ironically, we've made ourselves come to a standstill, where now the best, most productive, wisest thing to do is nothing. Not meditate, not focus. Meditation can be helpful actually, but my point is no striving, no doing, just stopping. And when you just stop yourself and just go sit down over there on the floor and stare up at the ceiling, wait about 5 minutes, you'll find you'll start naturally processing. You'll start thinking and putting everything kind of together, your insights and ideas and epiphanies and desires into a more of a coherent context for your life. And then again, the first step or the first thing you want to do and just the next right thing will present itself. But if we're going forward, we're not allowing it all to kind of settle. Lastly, if you're really boneheaded like I still am to an extent, but not as bad. I was so bullheaded, I would completely ignore these signs, racing always for the finish line, racing for that day when it's all gonna be over and it's all gonna make sense, but all that racing, in ignoring all these signs, I would oftentimes manifest a cold, a sickness. I would fall, or some crazy random thing would happen where I would make myself rest. And by that time, the fatigue would have built up to such an obnoxious degree that one day of chilling out wasn't enough. I would have to rest and do nothing for a period of days, sometimes over a week of doing nothing, which for a type A personality like myself, that is misery. I'd rather be dealing with conflict and challenges and pain than sitting doing nothing. That's a tough thing for me. But again, I would ignore these signs and it would come down to that. So that is my hope for you guys. Don't let it get to this point. Just listen to your body. It's usually pretty obvious. You might not even need this video or these signs. Oftentimes when it's time and ideal to rest, you'll just know that. You'll just sense that. But again, the mind can come in and say, no, well, you got to deal with this. What about this? What about this? What about this? What about this? That's the time to ignore that. That can all wait and you're not going to get much accomplished with what it's saying you need to do anyways. So take a day out of time, relax, and reset yourself, because tomorrow is another day. And if you can chill out today or the next couple of days, then when your energy restores itself, which it will very quickly, you'll be ready to rock and roll and get some shit done. That's all, my friends. I'm gonna go bounce and take my own advice. I will see you guys on the flip side. Have an amazing day. Thank you for everything. Love you all. Peace.